Welcome to vSkills YouTube channel. In this video, you will learn about the top interview questions for Angular 8. So, let's get started. Question number 1. What is Angular 8 used for? The answer is Angular 8 is the most recent version released by the Angular community on May 28, 2019. It is the most well-known client-side TypeScript-based framework for developing dynamic web apps. Angular 8 is quite similar to the previous version of Angular. However, it has a few new capabilities. You can also easily upgrade your Angular CLI to Angular version 8. Question number 2. What are the most important features of Angular 8? The answer is, the following are the important features of Angular 8. To create two separate production bundles for your app, use differential loading. Imports now have new dynamic lazy loading modules. Web workers are supported. Version 3.4 of TypeScript is supported. New workspace APIs and Builder are now available. Support for Bazel. Usage sharing with permission. The Ivy rendering engine is Angular 8's new compiler. Question number 3. What is Angular TypeScript? The answer is TypeScript is a primary language for Angular application development. It is a superset of JavaScript with design time support for type safety and tooling. Browsers can't execute TypeScript directly. TypeScript must be transpiled into JavaScript using the TSC compiler, which requires some configuration. Question number 4. What is Ivy in Angular 8? The answer is the rendering engine in Angular version 8 is Ivy. Opt-in was introduced in Angular 8. It has been chosen as the code name for Angular's next-generation rendering and compilation pipeline. In Angular 9, Ivy is supposed to be the rendering engine by default. Question number 5. What is the main use of a Bazel in Angular 8? The answer is, Bazel is one of the most important features of Angular 8. It always enables you to swiftly create CLI applications. It is a building tool that was created and is primarily utilized by Google since it can create applications in any language. It is used to create the whole Angular framework. It allows you to divide an application into many build units that are defined at the ing module level. Question number 6. What is the purpose of CodeLyzer in Angular 8? The answer is, CodeLyzer is an open-source tool that sits on top of TSLint in Angular version 8. The primary goal of CodeLyzer is to determine whether Angular TypeScript 3.4 projects adhere to a set of linting standards. It mostly focuses on Angular TypeScript static code. In basic terms, the main objective of the CodeLyzer in Angular version 8 is to examine the program's quality and validity. Question number 7. What is the purpose of the wildcard route in Angular 8? The answer is the wildcard router in Angular 8's main function is to match every URL as an instruction to achieve a clear client-generated display. This wildcard route is always last because it has to complete its mission at the very end. In Angular 8, it's mostly used to define the page's route. Question number 8. What is the use of web workers in Angular 8? The answer is web workers enable JavaScript application to run the CPU intensive in the background so that the application main thread concentrate on the smooth operation of UI. Question number 9. What are the most important components of the Angular 8 architecture? The answer is, the main components of the Angular 8 architecture are modules components, templates, metadata, data binding, directive services, and dependency injection. Question number 10. What are the benefits of using Angular 8 components? The answer is in Angular 8, components are a collection of classes with decorators that primarily mark their types and offer metadata to help Angular do its job. In Angular, every application has at least one component known as a root component. This root component is mostly used to link the page hierarchy to the DOM of the page. Question number 11. What are ng modules in Angular 8? The answer is ng modules differ from ordinary JavaScript modules in Angular version 8. App module is a module that is present in every Angular app. The ing module has a bootstrap mechanism that may be used to run various apps. Every Angular app, on the whole, has a lot of functional modules. The following are the primary characteristics of Angular 8 modules. The ing module's functionality can be exported and reused by other ng modules. Functionalities from other ng modules can be imported into the Angular 8 ing module. Question number 12. What is the purpose of the NGLF directive in Angular 8? The answer is in Angular version 8, the NGLF directive is a structural directive. The expression statement is mostly used to add or remove HTML components with this directive. When the expression is true, the element is added, and when the expression is false, the element is deleted using the NGLF directive. Question number 13. What is type of checks in Angular 8? The answer is: in Angular 8, the type of checks function is quite important. It is mostly used to ensure that the type of value supplied to the variable is the same as that of JavaScript. In version 8, you can also use type of checks to test the value assigned to the object. Question number 14. What is the purpose of the ng-switch directive in Angular 8? The answer is: in Angular version 8, it's also a structural directive. ng-switch is mostly used to add and delete HTML DOM elements. It's very similar to C-switch #s statement. A switch expression is used to apply this directive to a container element. Question number 15. What is data binding in Angular 8? The answer is: in Angular 8, data binding is an important concept that is mostly utilized to construct communication between the DOM and the TypeScript code of your component. It's the most common method for connecting your data to the view layer. Data binding can also be used to quickly and easily create interactive applications. One-way binding or two-way binding can be used to accomplish this. Question number 16. Why are reactive forms used? The answer is: reactive forms provide access to information about a given control through properties and methods provided with each instance. These properties and methods of the underlying abstract control class are used to control the form state and determine when to display messages when handling input validation. Question number 17. Why do we need template-driven forms in Angular 8? The answer is: in Angular 8, template-driven forms are required, if you only wish to add a simple form to your application. Although they are simple to employ in applications, they are not scalable. Template-driven forms that should be used in any of your apps require very basic logic and form. Question number 18. What is an Angular universal, and how does it work? The answer is: the Angular universal is the process of converting your application's SSR, server-side rendering, to HTML on the server. Because all Angular applications are single-page applications, rendering takes place entirely in the browser. The client-side rendering process encompasses the complete process of rendering single-page apps, CSR. Question number 19. What are some of the features of Angular 8 which differentiate it from the previous versions of Angular? The answer is: some of the striking features of Angular 8 which differentiates it from the previous versions of Angular are: first, Angular 8 supports dynamic imports for lazy routes. Second, Angular 8 provides the feature of differential loading for all applicable codes. Third, it also supports features like web workers, BASIL, and TypeScript 3.4. Fourth, there is opt-in usage sharing in Angular 8. Fifth, there are many ng upgrade improvements in Angular 8. Question number 20. Why the wildcard route is important in Angular 8? The answer is: Angular 8 wildcard route is responsible for matching URLs as instructions to build a client-generated display. When the requested URL does not match any of the router pathways, it creates a route. In a nutshell, the wildcard router in Angular 8 defines or sets the routes of the pages. Question number 21. What do you mean by data binding? The answer is: data binding can be best described as a technique that is used to link the application's data to the view layer. It makes communication between the document object model and the TypeScript code of our component. It allows us to define interactive applications easily and efficiently without worrying about pushing and pulling data. Question number 22. What are the types of data binding in Angular? The answer is: there are two types of data binding. First, one-way data binding. It is used to bind the data from the component to the view, document object model, or vice versa. One-way data binding is a unidirectional data binding method, that is, we can either bind the data from the component to the view or bind the data from the view to the component. Second, two-way data binding. In Angular version 8 helps the users exchange data from the component to the view and from the view to the component. Bidirectional communication is established in this method. Question number 23. What is the Angular CLI? The answer is: Angular Command Line Interface is a command line or command tool for the creation or updation of Angular apps. Angular CLI makes it easy in Angular development by giving boilerplates to save time and resources in development. Question number 24. What is Angular Material Design? The answer is: Angular Material Design is the guidelines for using the Angular Material User Interface or UI library, To develop consistent and functional web or mobile applications, Angular Material Design lists guidelines to be followed, and Angular Material provides various configuration options for the user interface. Question number 25. What is the AngularJS framework? The answer is, AngularJS framework is a JavaScript-based framework for developing web and mobile applications. It provides a template language similar to HTML, for providing various functionalities for easy and ready-to-use development. Question number 26. Why are template-driven forms used in Angular 8? The answer is, Angular 8 template-driven forms are to add simple forms to applications where scalability is not an issue. They are very easy to use but not as scalable as reactive forms. Question number 27. How can we check the type of value assigned to a given variable in Angular 8? The answer is, in Angular 8, the type of checks can be used to check the type of value assigned to a given variable. Moreover, we can also test the value assigned to an object by using a type of checks in version 8 of Angular. Question number 28. What is the usage of ng-upgrade in Angular 8? The answer is, ng-upgrade is one of the upgrade libraries of Angular version 8 which is mostly used to integrate both Angular and AngularJS components in an application. It also helps us in bridging the gap between the dependency injection systems in both AngularJS and Angular. Question number 29. What is string interpolation in Angular 8? The answer is, string interpolation is a one-way data binding technique. It can be used to extract the output data from a TypeScript code to the HTML template view layer. String interpolation displays the data from the component to the view layer in the form of curly braces. Question number 30. What do you mean by event binding? The answer is, event binding is a technique that is used in Angular 8 to handle the events raised from the document object model, for instance, button clicks, mouse hovers, mouse moves and more. When the DOM event happens, the specified method in the component is immediately called. For more such videos, subscribe to our channel.